Good evening, guys. I hope you are well. Just got in from dinner, threw up because I had rum and I've not been drinking for a while. Uh, so that was a shock to my system. I thought now that the shenanigans of the so called Sussex squad, who are always reacting without doing their due diligence and waiting for information, now that that drama has ended, because I'm not going to comment on it anymore. I think Harry and Meghan have said everything they want to say. If you want to still be outraged and upset, if you want to stop supporting Harry and Meghan because they do not meet your impossible standards for perfection, that's your business. I'm going to get back to the business of what we do on this website, which is to drag these hoes. So I've been ignoring Maureen and his mouseketeers for a while. Surprisingly, we don't have Maureen this week. Actually, not really that surprising. This is half-term week in London and in the UK, and I believe Maureen has a family. I know, shocker. So he's probably gone away to use his blood money to send his family on vacation. I was going to ignore them today, but this topic is quite interesting, and I thought it'd be worth having a reaction and dragging slapped ass. I kind of feel like I've missed these people. I haven't seen them in a while. I haven't been paying attention to them in a while. So yes, let's have a reaction. I haven't watched the video yet, so we're going to be reacting live. This is a 34-minute video, but I don't think it'll stay that long. Let's get started.
Is there a new battle line between Prince Harry and Prince William? Which important figure has come out to claim that Harry has killed the spirit of his charity? And what made Queen Camilla roll her eyes this week? We've got another fascinating show for you. Hello and welcome to a special episode of Palace Confidential. I'm Jo Elvin and we have just the one guest this week, but he's a very special guest, a proper VIP. Richard Kay has been covering the royal family for the Daily Mail for something like 40 years and has always had such fascinating insights when he's on. So welcome to you.
Thank you.
40 years.
Nearly.
And you don't look a day over 29.
80.
Yeah. Now, subscribers to our channel will know that this is your second dose of Mr. K this week. A couple of days ago, we put out a video where he answered all your questions about Princess Diana. It's an absolutely fascinating watch, and if you missed it, it's going to play straight after this video, so no need to go anywhere. For those of you who don't subscribe, what are you waiting for? Press that button. It's free. So let's get into this week's news, Richard. We saw the Princess of Wales in the Lake District looking very well this week, wasn't she?
She did. She looked extremely well, and I think it's really encouraging to see that she's out and about and doing something that she plainly loves. She's a joint patron of the Scout Association, and she was up there with a lot of young scouters and the Chief Scout, and I thought she looked terrific. Of course, there was a lot of focus on what she was wearing, and in particular, the cap.
Yes.
I see generated a lot of headlines as a baker's boy.
I have some rum in my blood, so bear with me. This is the same woman that didn't want anybody to focus on her clothes and focus on her work. I didn't know until that unnecessary video was released that she was joint patron of the Scouts. And notice again, guys, the real issue we have with the British press, the way they report anybody within the royal family. As usual, they're giving us that same toadying nonsense, and we all saw that Lake District video. Nothing of value was generated or created. It was mainly just Kate trying to block bad press because she and her husband had taken their fourth multi-million-pound vacation of the year with equals to the zero amount of work they had done so far. And while it did receive backlash, maybe they were hoping that, and they were right, because the toadying press was going to use that nothing of value added video to give Kate, I don't even know what type of coverage, fresh air coverage, I don't know. Let's listen.
Boy cap.
I was really surprised about that because I know I've seen her in a Baker Boy cap quite a few times before, but everyone really got exercised about it.
They really did, and lines were drawn.
But then it does kind of like lend credence to this irritation that she has, that things become, what she wears becomes the focus.
And every element of what she was wearing was discussed, from the boots, the trousers, the new jacket, the roll neck jumper, and of course the aforementioned cap. But I mean, I think there was a more important message that she was trying to get across about the joy, if you like, of the outdoors life, of nature, and how important it is to her. And we've heard her talking about this before when she made that very moving film about her cancer treatment. It was shot outside, and she talked a lot about the natural world and how it's helped her.
Yes, and getting our kids outside and away from their phones.
That's very important too, yeah.
So, will Prince...
Yes, that was important. But was it £50 million important? That's the question. And they focus on Kate's clothes because there's nothing else to talk about Kate. She didn't use that ridiculous video as an opportunity to launch an initiative, to give us any idea on any work she's doing. Nah. It was just a nonsense fresh air video to remind all of us that apparently she's a she's a co-patron of the Scouts. Nothing of value was gained from that video, guys.
William was also out and about this weekend at the football in a very grand box that had not one Duke, but two.
I know. I mean, once upon a time, these two young men, Prince William and the aforementioned other Duke, who was the Duke of Westminster, were Britain's most eligible bachelors. Of course, they're now both off the market.
Yeah.
Last year, the Duke of Westminster got married, and he and his wife were in this box with William and George, hoping to celebrate a win for Aston Villa against the great French team PSG. Unfortunately, they came up short.
Yeah, am I wrong? Do Aston Villa come up short quite a lot? I feel like, well, I don't know much about football, but I'm always on this show hearing that Prince William must have been very disappointed.
He must. I mean, they're not exactly sort of the princely team. When you think of teams which would have royal endorsements, you think of the Chelseas, the Manchester Uniteds, the Arsenals. But William has made a conscious decision many years ago to support Aston Villa because, as he memorably put it once, he wanted to experience the whole roller coaster of supporting a team which doesn't always win, which is certainly the case in Villa's.
Certainly getting that. Come on, Aston Villa, do Prince William a solid. Well, we've got more on him later, and it's a story that is said to have really annoyed him, so stick around for that. Before then, though, the King and Queen are back from their trip to...
Guys, I'm sorry, I can't. I wish they kept... I really don't care about any of this sugar. Okay, let's look at that. Let's focus on why we are really here. The Harry, and let's go, because this is just nonsense.
That was in court and was unexpected, and it coincided with the first day of the King's tour to Italy, and it did steal a bit of the King's thunder on that very first day. Harry was front page news, not the King.
Well, we will have more on Harry in just a moment, but before then, let's turn to a couple of your comments, and we'll start with one from Richard's Q&A about Princess Diana. This was from Minx.
I don't care. So let's see what else we got. Let's see when we get to the Harry part. Let me see what this...
After the case concluded its sort of public hearing, he sought out a newspaper and gave quite a frank interview about the things that he had heard in closed session. Without going into specifics, he basically said they were hair-raising and explained an awful lot, and it just wasn't right and this sort of thing. And one wonders what it was that he was hearing, because we simply don't know. They are deemed to be of a secret nature and could affect security in some way. That's why the media was barred from that point.
Right,
I've got to say one thing on Harry's behalf here. I've always felt that Harry should have wraparound security when he's in the United Kingdom. He is undoubtedly a terrorist target in the same way as the King and the Prince of Wales is. And this idea that he should give 28 days written notice of his arrival seems a bit fanciful, because I'm pretty certain many VIPs come to this country, foreign heads of state, who do not give 28 days notice. I think if he were to give 10 days notice, that surely should be long enough for a comprehensive security plan to be put in operation. He is an important figure still, and it would be awful if something were to happen while he was here with Meghan and the children.
Yeah.
And it would be a reassurance, obviously, for him if he got that wraparound security back. I think people have been concerned that he wants to have 24-hour-a-day security paid for by British taxpayers, including when he's in California. Well, clearly that's not practical and not feasible, and we wouldn't pay for that. But I think he should get protection when he's here.
And
that's a bit of a turnaround. Normally, they were more or less wishing for him to be killed on UK soil. What I'm guessing is happening, guys, is they're probably anticipating that the appeal might go Harry's way. So they're all quickly rushing to come and change mouth now. But I think also many of them are probably thinking that, look, our media is dying. We cannot keep on repeating the lack of the non-story between the leftovers. None of them bring any type of engagement. No one gives a No one gives a even in the UK, about anybody that isn't Harry and Meghan. Let's keep it 100. And Harry and Meghan have so restricted the press from having any access to them in California that everything they report on right now is speculative and mostly lies. And every other day or every day, their lies and their speculation is being debunked. So not only are they losing credibility, they are losing money. And that's why they're actually almost begging the king, you know what, just give him his security. Even if he brings his kids here, hopefully we can get a picture of the babies, we can sell them, make money. Meghan will come, maybe we can harass her, attack her, and make money. I don't know, but I'm just very surprised that Richard K, and for those who don't know, Richard K is the same person that was crying on Daily Mail. I think I reacted to it when Harry came into the UK. He was bitching and complaining that Harry was stealing Charles's spotlight. At this point, anybody with a little bit of media can steal Charles's spotlight. People don't care about Charles under the age of 65. Let's keep it 100. I can't speak for everybody in the UK, but I'd be shocked if other members of people my age and younger give a crap about what an entitled man-child was doing, traipsing around Europe with his mistress/wife, using our taxpayer money as an excuse to enjoy their 20th anniversary in Rome. Because that's what that was. Nothing of value was gained for the British people. The only thing the Romans got out of it was a photo op, I guess. But I'm happy to be corrected. Those of us that live in the UK, maybe I missed it. What was the value of Charles going to Rome? Let me know. For me, we didn't get anything from that nonsense. Just further information and further confirmation this royal family is useless, they cost too much money, and they are not adding value. Let's continue.
Do you think there was a coded threat at the end of that interview?
Well, as ever with Harry, you have to read between the lines, and some people have taken it as saying this is yet another gun to the heads of the royals, that what he was saying here, or rather what he wasn't saying, because he knows what was said in court, and he's going to possibly reveal all. Could that mean another book, another volume of Spare Part 2? I mean, there's no indication that he will write another book, but the indication...
Could he really be bothered? Books are hard.
Books are hard. Yeah. He had a very good ghostwriter last
time. True. Yeah.
So maybe there is an implicit threat that he will speak out more about this subject.
There are some people that are saying, I hate when they do that. To me, it's just so cowardly. Just come out and say that you are speculating, you are because everything Harry says is unnecessarily scrutinized. You are taking his words and using it to imply that he is going to reveal all. Harry has not given. They literally just answered their own question here. Harry has not said anything about writing another book or giving any more information. He just went and gave an interview and spoke quite frankly that, look, while we were in court, as tends to happen in court, some things were revealed that were shocking to me. And while he must have known at the back of his mind this is what was going on, it's nice to have written and verbal confirmation that he wasn't being paranoid. Contrary to what they say in the press, he wasn't whining. There were actual movements and actual actions taken to derive him and his family security so that he would be forced to come back into the royal fold if he wanted protection. Anybody with two brain cells to put together, especially after how Harry and Meghan were treated after they left for a bit. The fact that his security was pulled in the first place and their location was revealed to the press confirms this. But we're not stupid. right? So I don't understand why they're acting like, oh, it is out of the speculation of, it is out of the realm of reality that this would have happened. And then to the idea of Harry writing a book, unless Harry says he has any intention of writing a book, this is just clickbait, click rage nonsense as usual. So just again, guys, I should probably have given that disclaimer at the beginning. Anything the Royal Rota says about Harry is utter and complete bollocks. Never take them at their word. I've been saying it enough times. I would have thought many of us would have understood that by now, but many of us still do not get it.
I guess that there's always going to be that sort of like low-level anxiety where Harry's concerned, because he has shown that he will.
The issue with Harry and the royal family is the T word, it's trust. Can they trust him not to say things which he's told in confidence, relate private conversations between his brother, his father, his stepmother and everyone else in the royal family? And the answer is simply no.
Yeah.
They don't trust him.
Well, he might have been critical of the royal family per se in this interview, but publicly criticising His Majesty's government is surely rather awkward for the king.
Well, it's hugely awkward for the king, and you know, here is Harry suing his father's government in his father's court, which is why it's made it so awkward for the king to have a...
So it's very interesting, and I'm sorry for interrupting, but I want to say this. King Charles has said there's nothing he can do about Harry's security, but they also acknowledge here that by Harry suing the court, he is suing his government, his father's security. His father's government, because his father is head of state. So you can see where the ridiculous idea that Charles cannot provide his biological child security while he's in the UK seems a bit ridiculous. In hindsight, they all acknowledge that Charles is the head of state. If Charles wrote to the Home Office or whoever it is that is managing VIP security and told them, you need to give Harry security, without a doubt by the end of the day he would have security. I think we can all see that. The fact that Charles continues to refuse to do so, to me, is, I would say, Harry forcing Charles's hand. I'm exposing you to the public now. I'm exposing you to the world. You have the power, you refuse to do it. So why? Come and tell us why you refuse to give me security. And I think they are beginning to recognize that this is bad. This is looking very bad, because if these judges go away and go through the facts and realize that your son is not wrong, not only was his security pulled for a stupid reason, not only was his security pulled outside the standards you guys normally provide, but the fact that you continue to refuse to give him security while his life is potentially in danger, he said it here, Harry inherits the risk of terror attacks by the very nature of his existence. Whether or not he makes noise or he keeps quiet, his life is in danger because of his association to the royal family. And if anything were to happen to Harry, Meghan, or those kids while on UK soil, and not in America of all places, I mean, how is the UK going to wash this down? How are they going to live that down? So, I mean, I just wanted to call out that point, that they acknowledge that King Charles is the head of His Majesty's government and he can make these things happen. And we all know he can. So I'm glad that they said it on the record.
A position on it, what could he do? I mean, Harry was clearly invoking, asking his father to intervene and sort of sort this out, as though Charles has that kind of authority to do so. I'm not sure that he really does. I mean, you know, we live in a democracy and it's a government that makes decisions.
I want you people to know, Camilla, before she married Charles, was given a loan to manage her businesses because he didn't want to deal with the embarrassment of his mistress's businesses failing. He was able to move money to Camilla. He was able to get trust funds set up for Camilla's children. These are not his biological children, by the way. He was able to work out security for Camilla's kids. But you want us to believe that Charles, the king of our current head of state, in as much as he might be a figurehead, come on now. Don't get it twisted. The power that man wields, he might as well be president. He is the one that signs in every new prime minister. They need to go to him and do that fair and curtsying in front of the cameras. before a prime minister can be officially recognized. And you expect me to believe, me with a functioning brain that has 2 brain cells that work together, you expect me to believe that Charles cannot provide security for his biological son if he wanted to? If you are, even if you hate Harry, if you're still believing that BS, then I don't even know what to tell you at this point.
Not the monarch.
Now, it's interesting. I want to draw on what you were saying about Harry being a legitimate target with or without security. And, you know, Harry's been in court saying that he fears for his safety in the UK. So you can understand why people raise eyebrows at him jetting off to an actual war zone, like he did. And, you know, in fairness to me, injured servicemen and women in the heart of the Ukraine.
It was ludicrous. I mean, part of his shtick is that it is not safe for him to be in the United Kingdom, and yet no sooner had he spent his 48 hours in court than he was jetting off to a bona fide war zone, to Ukraine. I mean, good for him, because he was sort of following up on things that he's wanted to do. He's supporting injured warriors in that part of the world. But it's slightly mad, isn't it, to suggest that he's somehow not safe in Britain, but he would be safe in a war zone where bombs are dropping all the time and indiscriminate killings of civilians are going on.
People say that I swear too much, so I'm not going to swear. I need to calm myself down. Now, one thing I despise about people like this, and I apply this to the whole matter woman, I hate when people act stupid. Or when they act like we are stupid. That pisses me off. I understand that you want to push your narrative, but please don't act like we're stupid, because that really grinds my gears. Harry went to Ukraine because not only did they offer him privacy, and not only had he developed rapport enough with senior officials in Ukraine to be sure that his safety would be guarded, they provided him with the secrecy, with the security that was needed to ensure he could get in, do what he needed to do, and get out quietly. And I think, to me, that is a big indictment to the British media and the British public and His Majesty's government. How is it possible that Harry, who by all intents and purposes is one of the most high value asset, can you imagine what would happen if I don't know, the Russian government was able to kidnap someone like Harry? Come on now. And yet, Ukraine, in a war zone, were able to move this man in and out of their country, no detection. Nobody even knew he was there until he had gone. I'm sure until he was safely back home. Nobody knew he was there. And you people are not seeing the irony. Instead of trying to play in our faces like we are stupid, this makes you people look bad. In fact, to me, Harry was right to leave when he did. Because I'm sure the appeal judges are wondering, how is it possible that Harry, the son of a king, the king of our country, does not feel safe or have security coming to the country of his birth, but he is able to go to Ukraine, spend a certain number of hours, I think he was there overnight or something, or more, or longer even, leave and nobody knew, and he had the secrecy and the security to do that. What a shame that must be to us as a country. But of course, because these idiots, their job is to spin the narrative in whatever direction their employers tell them, they decided to make Harry being in Ukraine a bad thing instead of a disgrace to His Majesty's government, that the son of the king cannot feel comfortable enough to stay here, but he feels more safe in a war zone.
I mean, it's kind of, for a lot of people who are critics of Harry, it's beyond irony. Isn't it?
It is. I mean, but I don't think Harry's been very good at irony.
No. Well, the whole trip is reported to have annoyed Prince William.
Well, yeah, we haven't got a clear readout on that, but the issue here is one that William is sort of following Foreign Office and government advice, going to places where it's deemed safe for him. So the week before Harry was in Ukraine, William was in Estonia, seeing British forces on manoeuvres over there. And we know that William would very much like to pay a private visit to the Ukraine himself. And he has not been able to do so because it's not deemed safe enough for him.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of jumping in at the last minute without telling anyone trip, which Harry did, because at Buckingham Palace we're told we're not aware of this in advance, will have irritated him.
And it's interesting, isn't it, that it's a reminder that William hasn't been able to go into combat in the same way that Harry has.
Well, that's a perfectly good point. I mean, William, as heir in line to the throne, was not allowed to see frontline service in Iraq or Afghanistan when he was serving with the military, in much the same way as many years ago Prince Andrew was allowed to see active service in the Falklands, but Prince Charles, when he was serving with the military, could not see any active service.
I can't say it's something I'd be particularly jealous of, being allowed to go to war.
I get that, but I understand about service. Are you there as just someone to look good in a uniform, or do you actually want to do something with all the training? Because William will have had the same training, basic training, as Harry, but he couldn't put it to any good use.
Now, we've noted on the show before that Harry will often...
I'm sorry, I just wanted to call that out. If nothing else came out of that Ukraine trip, is the embarrassment that I know that William is feeling while he is getting drunk in France on his 4th vacation, while doing the sum total of 0 work this year, which he rightly got destroyed for on social media. If the British press were doing their job, they would report that. But I think some of them did, but a lot of them just ignored it because, God forbid, they report the facts. But I know that William was probably crying into his whiskey when he saw Harry getting the coverage. Because, look, guys, ignore the British press. They're a tiny island. I'm pretty sure Harry's book says it perfectly. Him and his brother are in competition, like siblings tend to be. But this competition, I think, is a bit more intense because all their life, right? It's always been very clear. William gets his treats. Harry is just supposed to stand there and dodge bullets and provide extra body parts if needed. And now here Harry is completely overshadowed him, and not only just William, overshadowed his father as well. He's got the hot wife, he's got the smart wife. You know what? Just for Meghan alone, Harry can, because see the way when he was with Meghan, the way he was standing taller, his chest was out, because he's just like, look at my wife, William. Look at my wife. Not only is she 2 million times hotter than yours, because people are petty, I'm sorry, but Meghan is more beautiful. But not only does she bring beauty, she brings class, grace, experience, money. Who wouldn't be proud? And then I think Harry, and if we go by Harry's words, being with Meghan made him want to step his game up, want to be like, let me be a man that is worthy of this woman. So yeah, I'm sorry, I just have to call out the pettiness, because I feel deep down inside Harry would have been, yeah, I got you, brother, one up on your lame ass. And I know William is probably crying into his bottle of whiskey while the British press do all they can to make him, to prop him up. And I'm also glad Richard K mentioned that Estonia gift trip was nothing more than a photo op in an ill-fitting army gear that was so embarrassing. One of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. And that says a lot. I'm sure William, looking at those pictures, because that's the thing, guys, they lie to this man. They don't tell him the truth. They're like, oh, yeah, the feeling that you're feeling inside, that inadequacy, that whole, you're not popular enough. Oh, no, that's all in your head. Nah, man. People like you. People love you. That's why they went to find crowds in Estonia to come and drag them and come say, be excited. We brought you a prince from England. And because the Estonians are like, oh my God, thanks for of course they'll be happy to see William. Let's keep it honest. He is a celebrity, and they probably haven't been that close to a royal in a while. So like, oh wow, okay, wow, great. But let's not pretend this isn't what it is. People around William telling him what he wants to hear to feed that deep gaping need for validation is pathetic, utter and completely pathetic.
Do engagements or tours when the other royals are less busy around July and August. But do you think, is it very cynical of me to think, he spotted that his brother likes an Easter holiday?
Well,
and therefore
he will rebuke me if I say that he did think that. But I can't believe that it didn't cross the minds of his handlers, who would very much be aware that the royal duties are pretty much set in stone. You know roughly when they're going to be working and when they're not. And there was a sort of a blank passage in the diary, and he stepped in and filled it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because we're very accustomed to talking about Harry as...
Harry is not a member of the royal family. Sorry, Harry is not a member of a working royal family. His diary is not aligned to theirs. And even if he was, let me play devil's advocate, even if he wanted to be petty, and it's not his fault the working royals don't work, don't do anything, don't add any value, are useless, and are irrelevant, and people in the UK are beginning to look at these people with, what do you do exactly that you're taking 4 holidays? You think Harry doesn't have kids himself? Harry doesn't have kids and doesn't want to be at home with his babies? Is Harry not at home right now with his kids and his wife? Because this excuse of, oh, the royals don't do anything, I'm on Easter holidays. Harry is a royal. Harry has kids. He was still able to go to Ukraine. Try again. And this idea that, oh, Harry did it to one of the royal family. Harry knew when his appeal was going to be. I'm pretty sure the members of the royal family knew when Harry's appeal was going to be. Nobody told them not to be around during that time period. And I think it's also very stupid to imagine that, okay, Harry put this in the diary because the appeal court thing is also like a year or 6 months in advance. So he must have planned with his handlers to go to Ukraine. He was in Europe, why not? My point is, however you want to look at this, whether you think, oh, Harry was being petty to show up the royal family, nobody will be showing you up if there was nothing to show up. It's not his fault you're not working. So that's what I'm trying to say. To me, it's a mutual thing. Just like Charles and William refused to be in the UK when they knew, because you can't tell me they did not know Harry was coming in for his appeal. Harry doesn't owe them a damn thing when he's going to Ukraine. He's not going on behalf of the UK government. He's going on behalf of Invictus. So that doesn't make any sense to me.
The litigious royal, but there have been suggestions that William is considering taking legal action over the publication of pictures of his family on a skiing holiday in Europe. And we've agreed not to mention the name of the resort. But the royal skiing holiday with its protocol used to be sort of an annual tradition, didn't it? And that would make a big change.
It does, and it would. I mean, I, as a beneficiary of all those early royal ski trips, with the King and his sons, with the Duke and Duchess of York and their daughters, I mean, they were very much a part of the winter routine. They would go to their various ski resorts, and there would be a post photo call. They'd answer a few inane questions.
Well, and my favourite one ever was the one where Prince Charles was slagging off Nicholas Witchell with a hot mic. That
was wonderful. That was on the eve of the prince's, as he then was, wedding to Camilla.
Yeah.
And he was very tetchy. That awful man, he said. Poor Nicholas Witchell.
I can't stand him.
But William has changed all that. And I think he's in slightly dangerous waters here, because he's trying to lay down a law which applies to the media in this country right around the world. He wants his privacy in Europe, where they take an altogether more relaxed view about these things. I mean, other royal households send their heirs and spares off for skiing holidays and accept that Parry Match, as in this case, might take photographs and they might appear in the coverage. William, it seems, is there are murmurs that he wants to take legal action. Now, he has done it in the past against French publications, but I think on the last occasion, famously, some snatched topless pictures of Kate were taken, and that was quite right. He has got to patrol that privacy. But on this case, I'm not so sure.
But that's the thing, it's like, how can he expect in this modern world to maintain that amount of privacy on a global stage? It seems impossible.
I think it's impossible because we're a much more interconnected world, and the smartphone has changed everybody into a citizen photographer. If it isn't Parry Match, someone will be taken.
There's so much to unpack here. They talk about the Parry Match thing, but they don't talk about the fact that Kate and her husband have taken their 4th vacation in 4 months without doing any work. Toadying press. They talk about William being litigious and being able to fight the press when they go too far. But they don't talk about the fact that William has chosen to keep quiet while the British press continues to slander his sister-in-law and his brother, while the British press harassed Meghan to the point where she wanted to kill herself, while the British press have and continue to try to destroy Meghan's business and Harry and Meghan's philanthropic work. But when they post him being a boozer, taking his fourth vacation, oh no, it's time to go to court. Do you know what, William? Take them to court. Take them to court, because I think the British press are trying to play a fast one, as they always do. They are trying to pretend that if they don't talk about the Paris match, fourth vacation of the year with zero work thing, that people are not going to focus on it too much. Do you know what? At this point, William, take them to court so people can start asking real questions here. Why are you taking your fourth vacation in the year with zero work? Why is that okay? Especially when this country is well seated in a recession. Why are we, the taxpayers, using our money to fund your security to go traipsing around the world? I want to be clear. If William and his wife want to go on vacation every month of the year, I don't give a crap. But not on our taxpayer money. Not on our taxpayer money, you don't. Stop being tax funded. Go the Harry and Meghan route. And if you want to spend 12 months of the year on vacation, feel free. God knows you have the money for it. And again, I don't understand why more Brits are not upset by this. Why are we okay with this? I just wanted to call out these two things because it's interesting how these two idiots skate over it. Or maybe that was the point. Let's pretend like we're talking on it, but let's not ask the real questions.
Taking pictures, they'll be posted on social media. Is he going to go after, these people as well?
And meanwhile, People magazine, which is seen as another favoured Sussex news outlet, has published a story suggesting that Harry is upset with the status quo, and it confirms that there have been no private meetings between the King and Harry, his younger son, for more than a year. And it says that Harry's calls and letters go unanswered and that the King has been unavailable to see Harry the last 3 times he's been in the same country as him. Is that true?
Well, I think it's certainly true that father and son haven't met for 14 months. The last time was that amazing flying visit that Harry did. I think he's got 25 minutes with Charles while the helicopter rotor was absolutely already going round and he was anxious to get on board to go. And Harry turned up, but nevertheless, they did have a meeting, but since then, no, nothing at all. I thought one of the interesting things about the People article was that Harry still writes letters. Now that probably tells us more about Charles. Of course, Charles famously does not have his own mobile telephone.
How interesting. Yeah.
And maybe he knows that the only way to get through to his father is by handwritten correspondence. But on this, it seems that's not working now either.
Oh, wouldn't that be quite sweet in any other scenario?
I can imagine these Dear Papa letters will be very heartfelt, saying, please can we talk? Charles is conflicted because of this court case, and I think he wants that out of the way because he does worry that whatever he says, and he's bound to say something to reassure his son, but it might be used in the court case, and he can't afford to let that happen.
Well, there was one piece of nice news because we learned that there is one bit of royal harmony that has stayed intact. Harry hasn't fallen out with Princess Eugenie, as has been previously reported.
Indeed. That mischievous Piers Morgan has suggested that because he was photographed with her arms around him or his arms around her, Eugenie I'm talking about, that would have upset Harry and that Harry was going to cut her off at the legs.
Because she had her arms around William? Is that what you mean?
No, around Piers.
Oh, around Piers.
Piers Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
And I think...
Because it's always all about Piers.
Funny that, isn't it? I mean, there was an assumption on Piers' part that this would enrage Harry, because Piers is one of Harry's enemies,
yes,
apparently. But no, not true, according to People. Harry remains tight with his first cousin Eugenie, who is the only member of the royal family, I think, who's been to spend time with him in California since he's been there.
Oh, we love a cousin. Well, the royal family, with its close ties to the military, have long been key figures in remembrance and memorials. Royal historian Dr. Tess.
So, a couple of things to talk about here very quickly. One, the fact that Charles has said he doesn't want to talk to his own child while the court case is going on. Charles, you're an asshole. An utter and complete asshole. 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 This is your child, who you've treated terribly, whose wife you've treated horribly, whose kids you've treated terribly, who is still trying to reach out to you, and you're not responding because of the court case. Now, let me be clear. Let me be clear, guys. I don't want to fall for the trap as well. This guy is a commentator, knows nothing about the royal family. If you ask me my personal opinion, honest to God personal opinion, no BS. I believe that there has been some communication between Harry and Charles, but if Harry was the one that gave that interview to people to say he hasn't spoken to his father since the cancer thing last year, then I believe it. And I think that's awful. And the fact that Harry continues to try and reach out to his father, and his father is not responding to him. And if what Richard K is true, it could be because of this court case. My goodness, King Charles, you are an effing asshole and a horrible... I mean, God knows you are a horrible parent. But like, it's like every time I hear about you, it just confirms that you are the worst type of parent in the world. This is your child fighting for his life. Fighting for his life just so that he can bring his kids home, so that they can see where their dad comes from. You are disgusting. The fact that you cannot even arrange or nudge the security people to say, look, at the very least, give Harry and his family protection every time they're in the UK, says a lot more about you than it does about Harry. And you know what, Harry, keep speaking to the press, keep talking to the press, keep embarrassing them. Maybe they will finally, because I don't know how this is going to go. I'm hoping, I kind of closed my mind to it because I was kind of thinking that the appeal wouldn't go anywhere, but I'm hoping, I've decided to change my tune a bit and be a bit optimistic that maybe the neutral judges will have a look at the case and realize this is some BS. No, absolutely not. Since you're saying that the king, absolutely cannot do anything, even though he was able to set up a trust fund for Camilla's kids and get them security, but that's a different tea. Fine, let us intervene. Harry can get security. Ooh, it will be so embarrassing for the king. Ooh, the embarrassment will be endless. And I'm thinking because of the embarrassment, they might say no. But I don't know, guys. Look, I don't want to... Nowadays, I'm going to be very careful with how I speculate on these things because I am not a speculator. I move with facts. I'm rooting for Harry, but I hope he's ready for disappointment. And then the other thing I also wanted to mention was, look at how giddy Slapped Ass and Kay were when they're like, ooh, Charles has not seen or spoken to his child in a while. Evil people. These people are evil. Evil people, which is why I don't understand why, if I use the case that came out today with the not today, a few days ago, with the Archwell and the Junan Majib situation, or the Sophie Chandokas, all these people that come outside and try and use bad press that actually, that Harry and Meghan tend to generate to try and push them or bully them. I don't know how you guys keep on falling for this. How do you keep on falling for this? Look at, they're literally salivating at the possibility of Harry feeling pain from being ignored by his father. These people are evil. They are happy to see Harry suffer, and they want to make money from his suffering. Right? So again, if you are truly a Sussex supporter, you need to start learning how to stop playing into their hands. Stop it. Stop it. And as for Slapped Ass and this corpse, look, the two of you are losers. I don't even have much to say. Slapped Ass, your very existence is because of this channel. The small coins you're getting to fund your lifestyle is because of reporting nonsense on Harry and Meghan. You are pathetic. While Meghan is about to become a multi-billionaire, you are here doing content for coins. You are a sad, pathetic soul. And as for you, Richard K, you're old. You'll soon pass on, so I don't really give a crap. Yeah, that's what I wanted to react to this today, guys. And I wanted to just drag these people. They are all pathetic. And I also wanted to, remind us what this channel was for and is for, which is to call out the BS, wherever that BS might be, not just with the royal router, but within the fandom itself. Please let me know your thoughts. Please like, subscribe, and share. And yeah, let me know what you're thinking. Have a good one. Take care.